Hello and welcome back to the podcast. We have lots of good stuff to catch up on this week. Was the Grammys, a couple of things that we're watching that we need to circle back to, and just overall lots of shade going on. But first of all, speaking of a lot going on this past week, personally, we have been dealing with a lot. So as Brittany knows, the past few weeks, I swear to gosh, I don't know how to explain this, but it was like all of a sudden a flip switched in Wolf and he started getting such bad anxiety. Like we could not figure it out. We like brought people to look in our attic to make sure there wasn't bats using echolocation that we couldn't hear. Like genuinely.
There's been, I feel like just every thought process of what could it be y'all went through and tried to find a solution to the point where you were maybe going to call a pet psychic at one point.
That's accurate.
And I was really pro pet psychic, and I thought you were going to.
You truly wanted me to, and I'm still not opposed to it at this point.
I'm not either.
But at the time, we were just literally going through, this has been for a few weeks now, so we've gone through like every avenue. We've tried, and like, I don't know, comment if you've experienced this with your animal before, but like he's 7 years old. So this is like very weird behavior, like tail tucked, running around, crying, like trying to escape the house.
So
like
bizarre.
Very weird. And so anyways, these past few weeks, we've been taking him to like multiple vets, a couple appointments. And so this one this week was like an hour away.
Yeah.
And we were there for a couple hours. And on our way home, we were like, dude, we have to grab something to eat. And the nearest place was Burger King.
Love.
So we were like, okay, let's go. We go through the drive-thru, and at the first window where you pay, the lady like hands us our receipt and card back, and then like 2 Burger King crowns, which we were like,
What do you mean Burger King crowns?
Like, you know how I used to get like with a Happy Meal? Not a Happy Meal, like a Burger King kids meal?
Yes.
Okay, so like she gives us like 2 adult crowns, one for me, one for Evan.
Okay.
And I like kind of laughed, but I was like, whatever. And I went to go drive away, and she was like, no, wait. And so I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there, and Evan starts like fully convincing myself and him that she wants to take a picture of us wearing the Burger King hats for like a promotion.
Shut up.
So he's like, tell her we don't want a picture. And I'm like, she didn't even bring up a picture. Like, I'm not just going to randomly say that. And he's like, no, but like maybe she went to go get a camera to like for the promotion or something. And I'm like, dude, no. I'm like, I'm not going to
be
just
one of those customers on a commercial or like on an ad.
Yeah. So he was like fully convinced. So I'm like, well, I'll just wait and see what she says. So we're sitting there for like a couple minutes, and she's just standing in there. So I'm like, okay, I don't really know what we're doing. And then she like opens it and kind of smiles at me, so I like start to drive away again. And she's like, no, like starts yelling.
She smiled
She's
at
like,
you then.
I don't know, like I think she was just like didn't like, it was awkward at this point. So I start to drive away. She's like, no. So I literally put it in reverse and I back up because no one's in front of us at the second window,
right?
And so I'm like, okay. And she's like, just wait. So then like I'm starting to believe Evan's theory. I'm like, are they like taking a video of us? They want us to put the hats on? I don't know. So we're sitting there, and finally she's like, okay, you can go. No other context. And I'm like, okay. So my theory is that, you know how like some fast food places, they time like the amount of time it takes like when you're at the window waiting for your food?
I didn't know that was a thing.
I think they time like each section or something, and like the last
like
one is what it's like a motion sensor. And so they don't want the time to go up of like how long people are waiting for their food.
So they were trying to keep their stats good?
Yeah. That's the only thing I could think in my head.
But what was the crown for?
I genuinely don't know. Like that part might have just been for funsies. I can't
get my head around on what the why was there.
Maybe they're just doing that right now. I don't know. Does it make you want to go get a hat now?
Not necessarily. I mean, I kind of want French fries from Burger King, but not
a hat.
No.
Yeah, we were thoroughly confused.
A hat? I'm not even quite sure that one of those hats would fit my
No,
head anymore.
it was large. It was large
Oh,
enough.
thank you.
It wasn't like not that you have a large head.
No, I do have a large
but
head.
No, like it wasn't a kid's one. Like it was
For adults?
It looked that way. I don't know. It was a very interesting experience.
I haven't had Burger King and that's not to say like, oh, I'm above fast food. I feel like I've said this multiple times before. Like I love
shy.
fast food.
Yeah.
We love that. But Burger King, I know we have had Burger King while you were with child.
We tried the fried pickle.
We did.
Things that they came out with.
We did.
But I also don't like, that's not like a go-to or something, but it was there. And then like this experience was just so weird. And
now you're scarred. You don't want to necessarily go back.
I cried laughing though after the fact. Like last night, me and Evan. Oh yeah. Me and Evan were sitting there and I just started dying laughing because I was like, you were so thoroughly convinced that this woman went to get a camera to take our photo. And he was so against it that like, in what world was I ever going to be like, yeah, okay, let me get the hats and let us smile. Like,
yeah, why did he think that you would be okay with having that photo taken?
Right, like he wasn't even just concerned she was going to do it. He thought I wanted to do it. Like he
was nervous. He didn't want to be a part.
Yeah, he thought like I was going to be like, okay,
and
I don't
smile
know.
And take a picture with the crowd.
I don't know.
He thought you were going to be he's known you for basically forever at this point and thought that was a situation that you'd be like, yes, great idea.
I don't know. That's why I genuinely cried laughing last night thinking about it. And I was like, in what world did you really think I would be the one that would be like, Evan, put your crown on. Let's take this picture.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah. Anyways, we were very confused. And on the same topic, speaking of confusing, some parts of the Grammys.
A lot of parts of the Grammys.
It was a very interesting... I will say it was very interesting that, like, I think both of us in our own worlds decided to watch the full thing.
We did, independently.
Right, and that's weird for us because I feel that normally, like, we wouldn't have gone out of our way to
sit and watch and make a thing out of it. No, I really wanted to make, like, a whole situation out of it. I wanted to be ready at 6 p.m. when the red carpet started. I wanted to be tuned in. I wanted to be sat, watching, understanding what was going on, and yet I could not understand what was happening because it was 11 p.m. and we saw 3 awards. And that's what I can't get past.
That's what I kept saying. I also feel that there wasn't that many performances in, like, the first hour.
Right.
It was a very slow start.
Right, and it's like, what were they doing with all their time? It was, I don't know. I didn't, as a whole, wasn't my favorite award show. Wasn't that, like, well, it had pieces that were entertaining. But as a whole, I don't think I loved it.
I will say, comparing the hosting to, like, what we were talking about, like, Nikki Glazer's hosting,
so
you couldn't really compare. Like, this
no,
was
and
not
I think
the same
maybe
vibe.
that was a little bit of it, was she did such a good job. She set the bar so high that this necessarily wasn't going to be.
And it was just a lot of talking, I feel like. It was a lot of, like, in-between moments, almost. Right. Instead of... I feel that in my brain, normally when you turn on the Grammys, it's like performance, award, performance, award, performance,
right, way
award.
more awards. We saw. I think that, how many did they give away in the total night actually on the stage?
I don't know.
Not that many.
It didn't feel like that many. It was a very weird vibe overall. And I also kept getting weirded out how they kept reinforcing that, like, the 13,000 members of the Recording Academy voted on this. It's like, okay.
I have so many questions about this.
No, and honestly, so did I. So we looked into it. Mm-hmm. We couldn't figure out who exactly are these 13,000 members.
That's a lot of people.
Right. And you would think that these 13,000 members would then be in the audience because according to Google, they're the songwriters, producers, engineers, and performers of the industry. So it's like, so is it the people in the audience? Who is
the Academy? Because I asked you this when we were talking about it earlier. So I was like, so in theory, could, like, Olivia Rodrigo be a part of the Academy and vote if it's supposed to be people's peers voting on this? I mean, I don't necessarily actually think Olivia Rodrigo is a part of the Academy, but who is it? And how come we don't know anybody by name that is in it?
Why has no one ever come forward and been like, oh, I was a member of the Recording Academy voting group. Like, no one has ever come out and said that.
Not a single fucking soul. And I was said, that is so many people to be a part of it that I would think that we would know somebody.
Right.
To have
and
come
that's
out
why I
and
was saying,
said that.
like, it almost felt like culty in the way that they
It
were
is
saying
culty because
it.
how do you even become a part of it? You don't fill out an application.
You do.
Oh, fuck me.
You do, but also that's not to stop anyone because I feel like some places, some cults, you do have to apply
the credentials.
But no, okay, so technically, a relatively small group of people having beliefs or practices regarded as strange by others, which
is that the definition of the academy?
That's a cult. Which ultimately, some of their decisions were strange. And also, it says
they were.
Exercising excessive control over members, which, again, in a way, and if it's like this big secret, why is it a secret of like who's in it?
I don't think it should be a secret. I think we should know. Like, it should be in somebody's Instagram bio, you know, like singer, writer, academy member.
Bio, not the Instagram bio.
You would think that if you had that kind of accolade, you wouldn't want to be so secretive about it unless there's something sketchy going wrong.
Right. And I just want to know, like, who exactly is it? Because if it's not the people in the audience, that's a lot of people. And then, like, is it just all the people's in the audience? Like, let's say, for example, Taylor Swift, like, whoever has the biggest team that's, like, in the Recording Academy voting thing is who's going to win. Like, are they related to the artists that are getting voted on? And they have to be
if there's peers. There's no way there's no overlap and no biases that are going into that to have 13,000 people. And I mean, like, that's crazy. And you would think that there'd be at least a couple of them in the audience for sure. If there's so many of them, there's no way there's not a single voting person in the audience.
Yeah, I don't know.
In my mind, when I was younger, I think when people think the Academy, I thought it was like a very like small group of people that voted.
I honestly, pictured it to be like 10 people, like a panel,
like
of
a
people.
board, and like you get elected onto it after some matter of time. But like when people are accepting their Grammys, then and they're saying, "I want to thank the Academy," do they know who they're speaking to, or are they just like speaking to the abyss?
Are we as like confused as the art? Like, do the artists have more insight than us into who the Academy actually is? Because I looked it up and it says they do not release lists or like show who's in the Academy.
Anybody.
It could be non-existent.
Honestly, and I think that is where we're at. I think these 13,000 people, I don't think that there really is 13,000. And they all voted. They all sent in their votes on time and they all voted appropriate. Like, no. It just feels like a lot. 13,000.
It says to become a voting member, you must have a primary career in music. You need 2 recommendations from industry peers. And
so what does that mean?
Right. Who
recommends?
And if you're recommending someone, wouldn't you just recommend yourself? Like, wouldn't you be like, hey, you recommend me, I'll recommend you, and then we'll get in, and then we'll just vote for each other?
Probably. All you need is 2 friends, and you can find your way in.
It's harder to enter an Instagram contest than the
It is. You need like 5 friends. You have to post your story. Oh my gosh.
Very weird.
That's all you have to do.
And then they like choose you, and then it goes through like 2 rounds of voting. Like the first round is who's going to be the nominees for each category, and then the second round they vote on like who's the winner.
And so what's this voting process look like? Is it online? Do they gather somewhere and like
we'll never know.
Send in a little ballot?
I think it's a ballot. I think they send it in.
So it's like,
because in my mind, like if this is really how it is, then these people could be from all over the world. They're just in the music industry. They're not.
Correct. You're right. Yes, they would be from all over the world.
Very interesting scenario here. But
I don't think I like it.
I don't particularly. It just felt weird that this year of all years, they were just reiterating that so hard. It's like.
It was every single
It was
award.
almost like you can't question us because it was the 13,000 members of the Recording Academy. And don't question our decisions. That's how I felt.
I don't know. I don't know about this whole Academy thing. Feels sketchy. It's
definitely
not like something I want to support necessarily.
Well, there were some interesting moments on the red carpet before even getting started. So there was a couple interviewers who were not doing the best job and had to issue apologies. Starting with, they were interviewing Babyface, and one of the interviewers saw Chappell Roan go by and was like completely just ignored what they were doing and pulled Chappell into the interview.
Awful.
I'm surprised that I feel like obviously Chappell probably didn't know in this situation like what was going on, but 100%. I feel like if she would have
that would have
been scary.
No, it would have been a terrifying.
There would have been a long fingernail in somebody's face because
no, they would have got a long speaking to, and they would have been put right in their place.
Truly.
And they probably would have lost their job. And they still might,
it's still not looking that good. And then another thing that was actually just like funny, I don't know if this person like apologized or got in trouble yet because the person involved played it off so well. So Courtney LaPlante was mistaken for Poppy in an interview, and so the interviewer started asking her questions as if she was Poppy,
and she didn't correct them.
And she fully went on. She goes, "I am Poppy," and she starts answering all the questions as if she was. Which honestly was like best case. I feel like best reaction to this, and also she was fully knowledgeable in like what Poppy would have said for the answers. I feel
so she gave like
true answers as if she was.
I mean, so she stayed on brand.
Yeah. But this was funny to me because this reminded me of what you have done multiple in the past.
Times. I think this happened twice.
Dude,
it was twice, 2 years in a row. It was.
You're still not out of it, by the way. Like, I still fear that if we ever run into this person again, it will continue. No, the saga will continue for this person
because I've engaged.
There's a person who we run into once a year at Lollapalooza who I don't really know who they are.
No, but
like I feel like maybe I do, but it was been so long.
Yeah.
So, anyways, this person that we run into, and for whatever reason, they are convinced that Brittany is me and I am nobody. And I don't even exist to this person.
No, they don't. They don't even look at you.
They don't even acknowledge me at all. But they fully go to Brittany and go like
they make eye contact.
Good to see you. And they talk to her as if she's me.
And I don't correct them.
Plays into it and
I think it's so funny.
Like, every time this has happened, which this is
it's
like
the same person.
It's the same person. And I think this is like the third time now. And she fully commits to the bit. She's fully like, oh, good to see you too, blah, blah, blah. And like, she has a full on like relationship with this person that I don't even know what's going on. I don't know their name,
but they're my friend. I can remember their face.
Same. And like every time we see them, I'm like, shit. Let me
Brittany
get Brittany.
Better be on her
Brittany better be on her best behavior.
No, oh, that's crazy. That crazy. It's so funny to me.
Yeah, it's fun times.
I don't think we look that alike by any means.
Also, you're so blonde and I'm not, and like the only thing I can think in my head is like maybe they know me from so long ago, and like that's why I don't really remember it, and they just see blonde and they think like that's me. I don't know. But
or do you think this do you think that this could have been the case that they have like a friend or someone with them or somebody like pointed in our general direction and said, that's so and so, that's Haley,
and they just assumed it was you they were pointing at?
Yeah, and they got like
but
confused.
Then it's like continued for so long now
that it's like stuck in their head
that they're fully convinced you're Haley.
I am Haley. I
am. No, and this last time too, like I vividly remember just like looking at Brittany have this full on conversation, and I was like, "Are you ever gonna just say like I'm not?" And she was like, "No."
Maybe if we ever meet them again.
It's too late now. Now I want you to continue it because it's so honestly good. It's too late. And I truly like the person has never also been like, oh, who's your friend? Like,
no, they have no regard for
anyone else around
anyone
us
in the group because it's never been just you and I. Like, there's always like
multiple people,
and they give no fucks about anybody that we're hanging out with.
Fully never.
They just want to talk to Me,
You.
but you.
No, at this point, you are.
Ugh.
But yeah, so that's a funny little tidbit there. Let's get into a lot happened at the Grammys, but we're actually, if you want to, we're going to talk more about that in the Patreon bonus content and do some fashion reviews. So if you want to see that, make sure you
Yay.
join that. But speaking of things we're watching, the Traitors, which
I love the Traitors.
listen, I'm trying. It's not something that I've like gotten into immediately.
That's fair.
It's slowly happening, but I have thoughts because last week we were kind of saying that, oh, you should go on it and all this
Yes.
stuff. Well, I have thoughts.
Okay. Let's hear them.
My first one being, it looks really windy and cold there. And I don't know if I like that.
That's a fair assumption because they do seem like they could be shivering. They're quite bundled up, having to put on jackets before they exit the manor. I don't think this should deter you.
It does.
Okay.
Like, I specifically saw, like, a bunch of people's hair just blowing into their face and they were trying
It was
to, like,
very
record.
windy.
And I was like, that's not flattering for me. You know what I mean?
a slick back bun. A little
No.
bunny.
And
a
also, like,
hat.
can't they move it to, like, somewhere warm? Which I know they can't because that's the whole point. Like, the place is there.
They're in Ireland or Scotland.
Scotland. Yeah. But I don't like the vibe seemed cold and windy.
And you would prefer warm,
Which
sunny.
right, because that leads to the next point. Is like
Right.
when I agreed to this last week,
Right.
I didn't realize there was physical activity involved because I didn't get
didn't-
that far yet.
I didn't mention that either. I kind of made it just seem a little bit more
Like you sit around the table, you
social
walk around
interactions.
them.
Things we're good at, sitting around the table, having
Right.
a little coffee in the morning.
So I was fully convinced, like, I can eat
low
and gab.
stakes. Yep.
Yeah.
Eat and gab.
And that's not what it is. And
No, but
then
the activities just they don't even like I don't even really have to pay
they
attention
were
that
rowing
much
a
because
boat.
right.
I specifically don't want to do that.
You could have been one of the people in the back giving direction. So just something to think about. What other points?
Another point. I saw someone explaining that if you are chosen to be a traitor,
Right.
you get not a lot of sleep because you have to stay until after everyone leaves and then do your little confessionals and this and that and do your little thing. And then you still have to be there early in the morning at breakfast so that people don't know you're the traitor. And like, I fear that if I went and I did get picked, like I would be, everyone wants to be the traitors. I was from what I gathered,
Yes.
but like, I would be so mad if I actually got picked to be one. You know what I mean? So then, like...
But here's the thing. The breakfast does look really good. Second thing, I feel you would be a really good faithful because whenever anything happens in our day-to-day lives or some kind of drama ensues amongst our friends in real life, you're able to crack that case quicker than anybody I've ever met in my life.
But I fear that, like, the show
Would know
that, and they'd be like, so they wouldn't expect her to be a traitor.
I don't think
So then
anyone would
let's choose
expect you to
her.
be a traitor either, but I think you could do it. It's only like a month of filming.
A month of filming? See, now that adds to the list of my thoughts. Second of all, which I just thought this was funny, they don't sleep in the castle.
I just learned that
Yeah, so then I'm
this
like,
week.
isn't that the whole point of the vibe? Like, you're going there to, I don't know.
I guess it makes
Like, it does make sense. But
it
then,
does make sense because you know what I said to my mom while we were watching this? I was like, there's no way that, well, a lot of them, but especially the housewives that are on the show, I'm like, don't they normally do full glam, like hair, makeup? I was like, so are their hair and makeup people just like popping into the manor each morning to like get them ready?
that would make sense.
It would make sense, but it makes more sense if they're all at a hotel somewhere and they're just staying there and they go glam them in the morning before they...
I guess, but I also feel like that's such a process because you're not supposed to see who's not there yet.
Right.
And so, like, coming in and out of the hotel, and then, like, you obviously probably can't walk around freely in the hotel. I don't know, like the whole thing to me, I was just like, that's a lot of logistics, and I feel like
They
traveling
have
back
a
and
lot
forth.
of, apparently from what I've seen in TikTok comments, they run a tight ship with the logistics. From an event standpoint, I would just like to go watch and learn like how they make it all work. I'm very fascinated by that.
Yeah,
So if they take you on the show, I'll go and I'll just sit and watch the behind the scenes. If they need somebody to do that, I'd be really good at.
I would arguably, maybe you could be me for this.
I could be you for this.
And I'll watch.
I'll be Haley, as I am Haley on occasion, and I'll be Haley in the Traitors.
Take on this role for me.
I fear that my like detective instincts aren't as good as yours because typically like you figure things out and then I agree with it, and I like just bring in like minimal like bits and pieces to like fill in the gaps to your story. Yeah. But I'm a good listener, so
maybe you do.
I'll be Haley if you'll have me.
There you go. And then another show last week that we got a little too excited about.
We were wrong.
We were wrong. We were talking about The Bachelor, and we, specifically you, because I didn't watch yet.
Specifically me. I thought, and this is before I watched a single episode of Grant's season, so sometimes people can be wrong. That's usually not me. That's me in this situation. I said at the beginning of this year, I think that the Bachelor franchise is going to make a comeback. It is not. Just to be clear.
It's officially not.
I can barely sit through an episode. It is not entertaining. It is not fun to watch. It is not. It's giving nothing. And that's.
From what I saw on TikTok, it's a lot of just. How do I. Like. It used to be like so frowned upon if you weren't there for the right reasons. And like they still try to act like it is, but it's so clear the way that they're even like staging the episodes. It's like everyone's there for the wrong reasons. He specifically, first of all, the guy dropped a song the day that the first episode premiered, which was like, okay, so you're not on it for the right reasons. You're trying to promote your music. And then this episode that just aired this past week, which I saw a clip on TikTok, was him performing,
singing the whole fucking episode.
Is this High School Musical or The Bachelor?
I think he wants it to be High School Musical, and he thinks he's going to get discovered. I don't know who's discovering him.
I'm just shocked.
Maybe someone from the Academy.
And honestly, maybe they set the whole thing up, and we'll find out next year when he gets his first Grammy.
No.
But I'm just shocked that the franchise is like even playing into that and letting him
get away with any of this.
Do that. Like, I feel like they know that's not authentic to what the show is. Like, I'm just shocked that that's what they're doing. But
the show is just because the last season I watched was Gabby and Rachel's season, which was some time ago now. Couldn't tell you how long. And even around that time, like I wasn't watching every single season regularly. I would kind of tune in, tune out. But it just feels so staged and so scripted. I want to say almost everything coming out of the contestants, if you will, and Grant's mouth, like everything in their in the moment interviews and everything even that they're saying like to each other on dates at the mansion feels like a producer read them exactly what they wanted them to say and then they're just spewing that out.
I can't speak to that because I haven't really watched the full thing yet, but I feel like I have felt that way in the past
with The Bachelor,
with the show, but I feel like it's just the
now.
clips that I'm seeing now. I'm like, this doesn't even feel like. Why are we even pretending this is to find love like it used to be? I don't know.
And very low budget.
Really?
Well, their first date on this episode was a basketball date, and typically, if they're going on a basketball date, they're going to like the Little Caesars Arena of whatever state they're in. So what would that be? Staples Center or where do the Lakers play in California? I don't know, wherever the Lakers play, or those basketball teams out there. But normally they're like going to the big stadium and it's a whole thing like, wow, I'm here. And their date was at it's seemingly a rec center somewhere in LA or wherever they're filming, that it wasn't even completely shut down because you could see like Grant was either walking in or out. I think he was walking out of the basketball area, and you could see people in the background like in the pool area and blurred out. So they didn't shut down the entire place, which is, it's fine. It was just kind of odd. And then even his second date, his first one-on-one date looked like the local mall that is going out of business. I mean, it looked like they still had some nice stores in there, but they were riding around on like the animal scooters and jumping on like some random like
interesting
that. It was
well, they spent all their money on his music career probably.
Oh
so.
God, the waste of money. It was like not the fabulous dates that you've known.
Like you used to see. Yeah. Like helicopter rides or like something crazy.
None of that.
Yeah, I fear that based on the information that I've gathered from TikTok and you from the past 2 episodes, I won't be tuning in this season.
No, that's fair. I'll continue to watch for the plot of it all and to let everyone know what's going on. But it's mainly like I listen as background music and I scroll on TikTok kind of vibe.
Yeah, I get that. Well, speaking of The Bachelor, there's somewhat of a bachelorette from America in Pakistan right now.
This is new news to me.
So if you haven't heard about the story, so there's an American lady from New York who went to Pakistan and is refusing to leave. So now men are lining up to be her husband because the young guy that she like traveled to Pakistan to supposedly be with has like run away with his mom and she doesn't know where he is. So now guys are like lining up and offering to be with her. It's honestly such an insane story. And I swear there's like new stuff coming out every single day about this. But she's been camping outside of this young guy that she wanted to go be with apartment and causing a ruckus. And so like basically everybody, the locals and stuff, started being like, what is going on? What is this lady doing here? Like called the news.
Yeah.
They started like giving her attention. And then all of a sudden she was like holding press conferences.
We just watched these TikToks because I learned about this today. I told you when you were showing me all the TikToks of her, I said, oh, I found her today at McDonald's. That was the only clip I've seen. And then I see these new clips of her trying to take over the country.
She's demanding money. She's demanding land. She's demanding like changing the community and like taking over the country. And what's so like, it's funny because they're being so patient and kind to her and letting her like just do this because I think it's just entertainment for them at the time, but letting her just like hold full on press conferences acting like she's...
the amount of mics that she had lined up.
Yes.
To basically say, this is what I've seen probably 3 videos of this so far. And in every single one of them, she's demanding something different.
Oh, yeah. It'll be like, I want 100K by this month. I want 20K by the end of this week. I want land and whatever. Like, she's just coming up with a bunch of stuff. And the funny thing is, too, like, they're actually trying to help her. They keep trying to, like, send her back. And she's just not going. Back. Like, they're offering to pay for her to go back. And she, like, will not leave.
She likes it there. She's getting attention.
Her visa has expired. So, like, realistically, that's what I've heard. So, like...
They could just make her leave.
But, like, I think they're...
So how long has she been there for?
Too long. I don't know. Apparently, it's been going on for a while.
And it's just reaching us this week.
But it's honestly just, like... It's an unheard of story. But I think what I like about it so much is, like... I don't know if she has, like, some mental health issues. They did say that, like, her family had called and said, like... We'll pay for her to come back. Like, she might have, like, mental health issues or whatever going on right now. Like, we'll take her back. But I think it's just, like, they're being so kind and, like, welcoming. And I think, like, at one point they even tried to get her, like, psychiatric help while she was there.
They're just being really wholesome about it.
Yeah. And I think that's what I like seeing is, like, how...
That would not happen here, I fear.
I also fear that. So... that's also going on. But
If somebody was just here at a McDonald's demanding thousands of money and land,
they're giving her everything to, not like thousands of
they're
money.
meeting her demands.
But they are like, after that, when she was like, she sat at a McDonald's, like wanted all this food. The guy like paid for it for her and let her have it. It was just like, they're just being so
wild.
But speaking of won't leave, we have to end on this note. The Chiefs not leaving the damn Super Bowl. You kind of wrote this in here, so I didn't know this. The term three-peat is actually trademarked by somebody.
Yes, Pat Riley, who is the president of the Miami Heat, he trademarked this phrase back in, what was it? Let's see. He filed for it in the 1988 to the 1989 NBA season after the Los Angeles Lakers won their second title. So he was anticipating a three-peat happening for seemingly the first time. And he's made money off of this because there's been numerous three-peats, including the Chicago Bulls. But he donates, I guess, a lot of the money that he gets from the three-peat. So when somebody three-peats, if they use that terminology, he profits from it because that's his trademark. So in theory, if the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl and people start posting three-peat on things or put it on merchandise, I would think.
I guess it would have to be like if they were selling something with it.
Selling stuff. He would be making money off of it, but the Kansas City Chiefs actually were able to make an agreement with him, so they are able to use the phrase three-peat worry-free. I don't know what the agreement was, but
interesting.
This has been talk online in regards to this weekend's football game.
And even after all the shade that we've thrown, saying that we're not sure if we're going to watch or not, we do, for research purposes only, have plans to watch it.
We do. And I'm really excited about the food. We're going to have soft pretzels. I'm getting...
Are we?
Yeah, I'm going to get Auntie Anne's pretzels. I'm going to get a big thing of it and bring it over.
Well, that's exciting. I'm also looking forward to the food aspect and the commercials. Like,
That's true. The commercials are always good. Yeah,
we'll have lots to talk about next week. And also, for next week, it's Valentine's week. So keep writing in your shady stories about Valentine's Day so we can do a little shady Valentine's Day episode. Also, if you want to join us on the Patreon bonus content, we're going to be going over some Grammy looks and more talk of the drama at the Grammys. So join us there. But for now, let's get into this week's shady stories, starting with shady story number 1. My ex-boyfriend broke up with me on our anniversary. We were together for 8 years. He broke up with me and then got with my best friend for 14 years. He tried to take the dog, so then I got his suitcase and threw it out of the house. I kept the car, but he took all the money, and now I'm working 2 jobs to keep a stable home. Thanks for reading. Love your podcast so much. Have a good day or night.
Night.
Good night.
And you know what? I'm glad you threw his shit out.
I'm sorry, but that is the one thing you do not screw with. Someone's dog?
No, you don't.
You don't try to take the dog.
No, it was very much so giving me Legally Blonde vibes.
And I'm
taking the dog. Yeah. So proud of you.
Genuinely, that's messed up.
Shady story number 2. My friend Hannah had her baby shower. 2 weeks before the baby shower, I messaged Leah, Hannah's sister-in-law, that I would love to help her set up a balloon garland and for Leah to teach me and give me tips on how to make the balloon garland skills better. Fast forward to 3 hours before the baby shower, and Leah decided to grab one of Hannah's other sister-in-laws to help with the balloon garland instead and told me that Hannah needed help in the kitchen and for me to go help Hannah. I didn't go help Leah with the balloon garland, and this is why I haven't told her that her boyfriend is cheating on her because Leah likes to play these high school games. We are not friends.
You know what they say? An eye for an eye.
An eye for an eye. I loved how quickly this escalated. She wouldn't let me help with the balloon arch, so I'm not telling her that her boyfriend's cheating on her.
Which is so wild because genuinely, if I could get out of a balloon arch at any given time,
I would.
I would. So I almost feel like she did you a favor.
Right. You did your part by offering to help. You were ready to help. And then you got released of
From
giving
the
that help.
duties.
Yes. No more duties were necessary.
I
But
would take that as a win. Truly. I think one of the worst things for parties is the balloon garland.
that is, and we've made our fair share of balloon garlands.
We've made our fair share.
And let me tell you, it never gets easier. Never does.
Yeah, I agree. And then your like hands hurt and your fingers smell like the balloons forever.
I swear my hands smell like latex for a good 2 to 4 business days afterwards.
Business days only. On the weekends.
On the weekends doesn't count.
Doesn't count. I agree. That's like one of the worst things.
Are you good, bro?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so I liked the last sentence of this, we are not friends, period. Like, okay, queen. Tell
That's
us. That's
it is what it is.
stand
And
on
you
business.
don't have to be.
No, you don't. You don't have to be friends with anybody you don't want to be friends with.
All right.
You don't have to. You have free will.
Oh.
Don't forget that. That's all.
You've been saying that a lot lately.
I know, because I have to remind myself I have free will to make the decisions I want to make in life.
Okay.
But
No, more power to you. Yeah, for
do
real.
you think about free will often?
I don't think about it that often.
I try to remind myself about it.
That's good.
Yeah, like I
2025, the year of free will.
could do anything right now.
You could.
I could drive to Arkansas. Period.
Okay. Yeah. No, for sure. I hope you don't, because
No.
we've got things to do.
We've got a lot to do. It's a very busy month.
All right. Shady story number 3. I once annoyed my older sister. I was having a nap. I was 4 or 5 years old, and she had a friend over. So she crept onto my bed with a Sharpie and wrote her and her friends' names all over my arms and legs, face and body, and basically everywhere. I remember waking up thinking I had a disease or something.
This was a real fear of mine at every sleepover I've ever gone to.
Really?
I just feel like it used to be such a thing, and maybe it still is, like growing up, going to like, not like sleepovers where it'd be like me, you, and Tracy, but like birthday sleepovers at
Like big groups?
Yeah, with big groups, because I've always been one to fall asleep first or early.
Not
like
you.
my whole life, I feel like that was me. So I feel like that was a fear. And that did happen once with our friends. Drew over a bunch of all of our other friends. Do you remember this?
Yeah, I wasn't a part of it. I wasn't there.
There's an
I
iconic
saw
picture of it.
photos. I did see photos of the aftermath of it all. We were way older though. This wasn't like 4 or 5 years old.
Oh
like,
no, we were in
adults.
college. We were full-grown adults, and we were at our friend's cottage, and some of our friends fell asleep in the living room, and some of our other friends found a nice box of Sharpies and decorated their every ounce of skin that was showing.
Yes, I did see the photos.
Yes, I was not a part of the group in the living room, nor a part of the group with the Sharpies. So I thank God every day that I was not a part of it, because I'm still not convinced they were able to get all that off.
Yeah, I think that's like, that's one of those pranks that like, in the moment you might think it's funny, but like also that really does not come off for so long.
No, it doesn't. It really doesn't. And honestly, if I got all of that on my skin, I'd probably break out in a rash, or I would.
You like actually have a deep fear of this.
No, I
It's
do,
funny.
because especially with like people's faces, I feel like that used to be a thing of like drawing on people's faces. I don't know if it was in like movies or like putting shit on their face. And I have a very sensitive face. I don't know if you knew this, but like it will break out with anything.
No, okay, so like
Do you remember when I accidentally put hand sanitizer on my face on purpose?
No.
You were there, and we were locked in the bathroom, and I was trying to pretend like I was crying, but I didn't want to turn the sink on, because then I was like, it would be obvious that I was using the sink to look like I was crying. And I put hand sanitizer on my face, and like I had big red rashes afterwards.
So you were worried about people drawing on you, and you were putting
I did it
full-blown
to-
hand
I
sanitizer,
did it.
toxic chemicals on you.
And now I'm just kind of word vomiting all my secrets. Yep.
I'm gathering that. All right. Well, this is a good place to end before Brittany continues to spill her.
I have a
deepest,
lot of
darkest
stories.
secrets. But that's it for this week's episode. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.